Have you ever spent the night in a library? Where there are crowds of people during the day, the sound of leaves, the smell of paper, there is something else in the silence of the night. Today's story is about a library that not only stores books, but also shelters shadows. In a corner of the city, an old building stands. People know it as a library, but when it was built, no one knows who built it. During the day, everything is fine here. Arranged books, wooden tables, old lamps. But when night falls, the bookshelves move. The pages turn by themselves. And from somewhere, the sound of whispering reading comes. One day, a student named Rafi stayed in the library until night to prepare for an exam. The guard said, "Brother, don't stay here at night." But he laughed it off. As soon as the clock struck 12, he felt the entire building change. The lamp on the table was shaking. There was no wind, but the window glass was shaking. The pages of the book in front of him were turning by themselves. Rafi heard clearly the sound of someone reading, as if 1,000 people were whispering together. Some were laughing, and some were making a sound like crying. He peeked through the gap in the shelf. In the darkness, there were some people like shadows standing. They had no faces, just swirls like fog. They were all reading books, but there were no letters on the books. Rafi wanted to run away, but he saw a black book in the middle of the shelf. There was nothing written on the cover of the book. As soon as he touched it, a cold shiver spread through his hands. As he opened the book, he saw his own name was written inside. Every event from his birth to now. Even the words he was breathing at that moment were written. He wanted to close the book in panic, but the words came out. Read, read to the end. Suddenly, the shadows around him came forward. They did not speak any language. Their voices were just the muffled roar of the wind. But Rafi understood what they wanted. They wanted him to read the book to the end, because when every reader finishes the book, his life also ends. Then his soul was imprisoned inside the library, becoming a new shadow. Rafi wanted to run away. Then suddenly an old man stood in front of him, wearing glasses, a long black coat, but his face is not clear, as if covered in fog. The old man said, "I am the guardian of this library. You have taken the book in your hand. From now on, your place is here." Rafi asked in a trembling voice, "If I don't read the book?" The old man whispered, "Then the book will be read by your shadow." Rafi looked at the floor. He saw his own shadow separate from the soles of his feet. He slowly stood up, the same size as him, but without eyes. The shadow reached out and took the book and started reading. Rafi was scared and wanted to take the book, but the librarian just smiled. "See? This is how new shadows are born." Rafi ran towards the door, but every door brought him back to the same place. Black shelf, the strange book, the shadow reader. Finally, exhausted, he sat down on the floor. The book was open in front of him, and he saw the last line written. Rafi sat down on the floor and read the last line of the book. Then all the lights went out. That library still stands today,
an ordinary library during the day, but if someone dares to stay inside at night, they might hear countless shadows reading books. Someone might suddenly pull a book from the shelf with your name written inside. If you dare to read, then maybe your shadow too will one day become one of those readers. Friends, that was today's story, The Shadow Library. Now, if you sit down to read a book in the dark of night, maybe someone is watching through the gaps in the pages. Is your shadow really under your control? Or will he also go to the library someday and start reading for you?
Thank you for listening to tonight's story. If you felt the chill, if the silence made your heart beat faster, then don't forget to subscribe to Horror Whisper. Here, every night has a new shadow, and every shadow has a story.